All right, welcome everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Show all council members are in attendance. Roger Sandow via the phone. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Tonight we have a proclamation for Extra Mile Day. City of Council Bluffs, Iowa, Office of the Mayor proclamation. Whereas Council Bluffs, Iowa is a community which acknowledges that a special vibrancy exists within the entire community when its individual citizens collectively go the extra mile in personal effort, volunteerism, and service. And whereas Council Bluffs, Iowa is a community which encourages its citizens to maximize their personal contribution to the community by giving of themselves wholeheartedly and with total effort, commitment, and conviction to their individual ambitions, family, friends, and community. And Council Bluffs, Iowa is a community that chooses to shine a light on and celebrate individuals and organizations within the community who go the extra mile in order to make a difference and lift up fellow members of their community. And whereas Council Bluffs, Iowa acknowledges the mission of the Extra Mile America to create 575 extra mile cities in America and is proud to support Extra Mile Day on November 1st, 2017. Therefore, I, Matt Walsh, Mayor of the City of Council Bluffs, do hereby proclaim that day, November 1st, 2017, as Extra Mile Day in the City of Council Bluffs, Iowa, and urge each individual in the community to take time on this day to not only go the extra mile in his or her own life, but also to acknowledge all of those who are inspirational in their efforts and commitment to make their organizations, families, community, country, and our world a better place. With the seal of the City of Council Bluffs, I do hereby proclaim. Tonight we have 5 public hearings. If any of these particular public hearings, if you're here to speak to the council in regards to any of them, please step forward to the microphone, give your name and address for the record. This is the time and place for a public hearing in regards to Ordinance 6305. An ordinance to amend the zoning map is adopted by reference in Section 15.02.070 by rezoning the northwest quarter of the southwest quarter of Section 17-74-43, except state right-of-way, along with part of the southwest quarter of Section 17-74-43, except state right-of-way and railroad lying north of the railroad right-of-way from A2 Parks, Estates, and Agricultural District to I2 General Industrial District as defined in Chapter 15.21. Is proof of publication on file?
Yes, it is.
Have any written protests been received?
None received.
Is there anyone here tonight wishing to address the council in regards to this? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of the council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. This is time and place for a public hearing as advertised on the matter of Ordinance 6308, an ordinance to amend the zoning map by reference in Section 15.02.070 by rezoning lots 1 through 4, New Horizon subdivision, replat 2, from R1 single-family residential district to R3 low-density multifamily residential district, and to rezone proposed lots 5 through 36 and outlots A through C from R1 district to R2 two-family residential district as defined in Chapter 15.09. Is proof of publication on file?
Yes, it is.
Have any written protests been received?
None received.
Sir, could you give your name and address for the record?
Yeah, Luke Weatherly, Olson Associates, 2111 South 67th Street, Omaha, Nebraska. Here on behalf of the applicant, happy to answer any questions if you have them. Also have Rhonda DeStefano here with us from Emmanuel, and here to answer any questions.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's a pretty thorough staff package.
I believe that one of the adjacent property owners asked us to do the zoning subject to you closing on the property, and so,
Correct.
all right,
I think that's acceptable. Yep.
sounds good. Thank you. Anybody else? Any additional questions?
Okay.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second. Do we need to read this?
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
Could you amend your motion, perhaps?
Yeah. Be a motion to approve per the recommendation from city attorney that's been provided to us in comment form.
Second concur?
Second, yes.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Thank you, Nate.
Sure.
This is,
Motion to waive third.
Second.
is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. This time and place for a public hearing in regards to Resolution 17-217, a resolution approving the plans, specifications, and form of contract for Fire Station Number 5 Storage Building, Project Fire Department 18-02. Is proof of publication on file.
Yes, it is.
Have any written protests been received?
None received.
Is there anyone wishing to speak to the council in regards to this matter? Seeing none, what is the council's pleasure?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. This is the time and place for a public hearing as advertised on the matter of Resolution 17-218. Resolution approving the plans, specifications, form of contract, and cost estimate for the Bass Pro Shop rooftop unit replacement project. Is proof of publication on file.
Yes, it is.
Have any written protests been received?
None received.
Is there anyone wishing to speak to the council in regards to this matter? Is there a motion from the council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. This is time and place for a public hearing as advertised on the matter of Resolution 17-219, a resolution granting final plat approval of a 123-lot residential subdivision to be known as Whispering Oaks. Is proof of publication on file.
Yes, it is.
Have any written protests been received?
None received.
Is there anyone here tonight wishing to speak to the council in regards to this matter? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Is there discussion?
Only in that while the two housing developments in this area are very important and will provide a lot of needed housing, again, renew my my suggestion, my call for a traffic study.
Traffic study has been completed.
It has.
Yes.
Okay. I look forward to seeing those results as they impact the traffic on Greenview and Franklin. So thank you.
We'll get you a copy of that. Any other? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Madam Clerk,
Can we do a motion to waive third on that one?
I believe you can.
Second.
That's just a resolution.
Oh, it's just a resolution, okay.
All right,
Oh, yeah, I guess it's.
Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 6309, an ordinance to amend Chapter 1.70, Board of Library Trustees by amending Section 1.70.110, Annual Report.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Ordinance 6306, to amend Chapter 15.15, C2 Commercial District by amending Section 15.15.030, conditional uses to include warehousing and distribution limited.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Pose same sign.
Motion to waive third.
Second.
Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Pose same sign.
Ordinance 6307, an ordinance to amend section 3.44 pawnbrokers.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Yes.
David Drake, 2909 6th Avenue, Council Bluffs, owner of Metro Pawn and Loan at 3011 West Broadway. I discussed last meeting about the ordinances applying across the board to all the secondhand dealers and gun dealers. We had a discussion about that. I think that before this goes into effect just strictly to pawnbrokers, that it should go across the board to everyone at the same time that's doing business secondhand. I had discussed with you about the extra requirements that they were going to cost us, more money and more time to implement. I was asking and am asking that there was one requirement on there that's the signature, the copy of the signature. I, again, would ask that you guys would remove that one requirement as we're getting the fingerprints, the photos of the items, and we're getting everything else that the police have asked for. Again, talking to Leads Online, they said that a very small percentage, under 5%, probably even require a signature copy. So if all these other places haven't required, I mean, we get the signature from the customer, but it's just a matter of time and effort and expense trying to get that signature copied to get it uploaded. And when Steve and I had a meeting with the county attorney and Captain Wedham, basically they said that they wanted it. That's pretty much all that the reason for it was, that it was going to help them if they ever came across an instance of forgery. Well, so we've got to get these pictures of 10,000 people or 10,000 signatures for the one person that's going to have a possible forgery charge. And if that has a possible forgery charge, we have the signature. We can give them that 1 in 10,000 chance. All right. The other thing we talked about at the city attorney's office, we were discussing whether or not this new law should pertain to the firearms dealers. And the city attorney told Steve and I that because of the new omnibus law in Iowa, that that there was going to be difficult to make that pertain to the firearms. All right. So if that's the case, for the purchases of firearms, if that's the case, if Steve and I buy firearms, then we need to look at this law that you're talking about passing. I mean, we haven't ever complained about the firearms before, but we're going to pass this new law. But what part of that law is going to be against the state law? Because you're going to make me report not only the pawned firearms, which I understand, no problem, but you're going to make me report all the purchased firearms, and you're going to make me hold them for 30 days before I can put them out for sale. Now, if you're not going to make the firearms dealers do that because of the new omnibus law, well, the omnibus law applies to us too. Just because we have the word pawn in our business, that's a separate, we do a pawn or we do a buy, okay? So when we do a buy, that's no different than the firearms dealer doing a buy. So if we're going to pass the law the way that you have it written, then we're going to have to talk about us not being required to do any reporting or to do any kind of hold for any of the firearm purchases.
Dick, I'm not familiar with the omnibus law. Can you maybe I don't know, sorry, I don't know.
Steve has a copy of it. He
That's
just
the
was
one
reading
that
it to me.
Lucy,
I'm just saying,
that
if we're
laws
going to apply
tends to
that
particular.
omnibus law to the firearms dealers, because they're purchasing firearms and the omnibus law isn't going to affect them, then that part of our business, you're going to have to take that out.
Now,
I'm not
what
sh-
Captain Whittem told us this afternoon is he agrees with you that secondhand gun dealers should be required to do the same thing, and that
Okay.
their full intent is to tackle that
Yeah.
also.
He said
Okay.
they're actually working on it right now, I think was his response.
he
Yeah,
did.
because that was one
Okay,
question.
all I'm saying is if, I'm asking for one
Yeah,
thing.
he didn't mention
The omnibus,
any
yeah.
federal law or
This was
restriction
some
of
Iowa
them.
law that he,
Well, essentially, you're in a business, no matter if it's a brick or a gun or a toy, you have to do the same thing with each item. And so we're not regulating your activities because you're dealing with weapons. We're regulating your activities because you're possibly buying fenced goods.
okay. But if that's the case, then we need to do that for the other businesses that are buying the bricks
We
or
are
the
going to-
toys.
We are going to be looking at that very closely. Secondhand dealers are next on our list,
Okay.
and I think we're
I
going
mean,
to be
can-
real,
can-
it's going to
can
be real
this-
difficult.
Can this law not go into effect for everybody at the same time? I mean, why are we singling out the pawn shops to implement the law initially? And then we're gonna look at the other people and maybe not do anything with them?
We have singled out pawn shops for the last 100 years.
Oh, I know you have.
Because of the nature of the activities and
Okay.
sometimes the use of your facilities to fence stolen goods.
Well,
I'm not saying it's not done on other places.
Plus, that's a really good, just general law making question, if I may. Oftentimes when you write legislation at any level, local or much higher, you can only tackle parts of a law generally. Like you won't see, like, sometimes the whole subject, and I agree with you, and I know we've talked about this before, about firearms and about other people selling them, and about some potential different restrictions. And that was before my mother was in Las Vegas, fortunately not at that concert when that
that was a
incident
terrible
occurred,
deal.
but she
We'll
was.
all agree.
Yeah. So that was yet another reason that makes me think that things like that maybe we need to look at, but within the law, and there's some significant legal protections there. When you look at different laws, it's always by its nature going to be piecemeal, because we don't rewrite the whole law and a whole subject or the entire code all at once. So I know it's frustrating when you're the one that's the issue's up and the other ones aren't being addressed currently. It feels like you're being picked on, but the nature of lawmaking is such that, we greatly appreciate you bringing up the issue of the other secondhand dealers, and that's what leads to the regulation for there too. So you get the credit for that, sir. As far as I could see, no one, I'll admit I hadn't thought of that, and I think you've brought a really good idea, and I intend to support it. So I hope with some assurance there that you'll understand that I believe, and for my part, I intend to move forward with doing what we can with that piece. So I agree with you, and thank you for bringing that up. I don't think we're going to delay the implementation, speaking for myself, on this one piece, because like I say, laws are piecemeal, but it shouldn't be a disparity for long. You have my vote on that.
One of the other things that I'd like to say, that if this does get enacted, the new ordinance, that I would ask that, as it's written right now, it says it's going to go into effect immediately upon signature. I would ask that there'd be a 30-day time frame for us to get our software and our hardware and our training of our employees up to date to get everything to work. We already went to Leads Online. When the police department asked us to do it, they asked us to do it by, I don't know what it was back in July, I believe, or something like that, Steve. I mean, we already are sending all the information. We weren't doing the pictures or the only thing I didn't do was the photos and the signature copy. And, You know, so that wasn't law. We weren't required to do that, but I spent all the money and I went through all the things I needed to do the digital fingerprint. So I did all that ahead of time, okay? I didn't do the signature thing because I would, again, ask that that be removed, that it's just, for the few times that that possibly is gonna get used, that it's just, it's a
So,
burden.
Again, Captain Whittem was here this afternoon talking about, to the council, about the questions you had at the last meeting, and he went through a litany of reasons why they need some of those things, and if someone were to break into a car and steal something out of the purse, which would include an identification, the identification then used to sell an item or pawn an item would constitute identity theft. The signature of somebody who you aren't would constitute forgery. The fingerprint would help identify the person. The photo would help identify the person. And so, as you said, both the captain of the police department and our county attorney felt that all those pieces of information would be vital in a prosecution. And so that's why they're asking for it.
Okay,
The signature thing, was that like a signature pad that you still have to add on?
yeah.
For some reason, I guess I thought you were
Yeah, he
taking a
said-
picture of
Well,
the signature.
Steve's kind of going through a back doorway, which is a time-consuming, pulling the customer back up after the customer's been gone, then attaching that photo of, he's snapping the photo, and it's actually attaching to a photo of one of the items that the person pawned. Now, there's no assurance when you do it that way that it gets done. If somebody got sidetracked or something like that, one of my employees went to help somebody else, and now he forgot to take this picture, this signature. You know, I guess I don't want to come down later and get some fine that says, you know, you forgot this signature, and it's gonna be a $500 civil fine.
So you need to buy the pad is
Well,
what you need
that's
the
what I
delay
want,
for?
yeah, that's what we're we're looking at buying the pads that are $400-some a piece, and when the customer signs the pad, it goes into the system and it knows they got the signature before, just like our fingerprint. We can't continue on until this fingerprint's done. We can't continue on. And that's, the signature will be the same way. But it's just, you know, we're getting the signature on the actual contract.
If
And
this
to me, and the city
I'm sorry.
attorney's standing there, to me, the signature on the actual contract would be what a person needs, because the signature just out in the air, to me, is just a signature on a piece of paper. But a contract that says what they sold, says where they sold it, says the time they sold it, and that signature, to me, is what you would need in a prosecution, is it not?
But that's what they had a picture of, right? They
well,
said you-
Well, to
No,
be frank,
he needs the
though,
whole contract.
the
He
bad
needs-
guy does something wrong in that case, they've broken yet another law, and so we can punish them more, frankly, to try
What-
to
what
discourage people.
I'm confused.
Well, signing it, you know, if you're impersonating someone else,
Oh, I
which
know, I
you
understand
probably
that.
are if you're fencing goods, I would hope, or, you know, well, you're not very bright if you're going to fence them in your own name, but if somebody's going to fence them, that forging, putting a fake signature, is yet another charge that the bad guy. It should discourage people from coming in, and which it's got to be a big drag on your lawful business. The few people who come
Okay,
in
yeah.
who try to steal
Okay,
from
what I'm-
people.
I understand what you're saying.
It-
He-
but
What I'm
I
saying-
do. But
What I'm saying is
He's saying
you're
like-
asking for just a picture of a photo of just a signature. It's just
Yeah.
out in the air.
Yeah.
And even the city attorney says for it to be a legitimate thing in a court of law, they're gonna have to have the actual item, the contract that was signed that says they sold that item.
Yes,
Is
but-
that not true?
well, but those are two different questions.
Well, but today they showed us that it was just like you could take a picture of that contract and just upload that, like when you're taking the picture of the person and of the item, because what they said is, and I get what you're saying, is they can just come get it if they need it. Well, he said like when they used to do that, for just an example, they would come get the sheets from you guys. It was probably, what'd he say, $30,000, it cost about $30,000 a year.
That
just
was
in
because
time.
they were entering that. That wasn't
No.
just because they were picking
Well,
them
but,
up.
I mean,
Yeah.
the whole process, so he's just saying to
Yeah.
make it so that it's searchable, it's easy. They would prefer to have all things that they would need when it came to an investigation, just in one spot. So it can be, I mean, the example we were showing was just a picture of the contract, you just take one extra picture when
I
you're
think
taking.
they look
mean,
at, I honestly think they look at the picture of the signature and compare it with the signature on the driver's license that you also collect and see whether or not those two match. And then
Okay.
if they have an occurrence that is forgery, fraud, theft, fencing, then they probably do come and gather the information. But it just allows them to look at that signature and compare it to the signature that's on the face of the driver's license.
If this were to pass, excuse me, excuse me, tonight is second. If it were to pass, I'm certainly not going to move to waive third because it's been, as a general rule, I don't move to waive third on anything but something routine or something, that isn't controversial, and this has been controversial, so I certainly think you should
I'm
have
not
another
trying to
time
be
to speak.
controversial.
Well, it's,
Something that affects.
I'm sorry,
affects our
I don't mean that,
business.
sorry,
You know,
lawyer
no, I'm
speak.
just
I
trying to-
mean, it's something that's being contested. I don't
Yes.
mean, I didn't mean to imply, sorry, lawyer speak. It's an issue that people are on both sides of. That's what I mean by controversial.
Can we look at the 30-day thing?
For sure.
I was going to
Well, I
ask
have no
you
issue
to,
with
I was
it.
going to ask you to expand on that. What are some of the issues that you've encountered or your colleagues have encountered that 30-day?
You meant
period
30
would
days for
help out?
enactment. He
No,
means
I
30
just
days so that
meant
we give
30
them
days from the
when it
enactment.
passes so they can do training.
And that was kind of my
That's
point.
That's,
There'd be
I
at least
just,
2
I
weeks.
would ask that
To make sure
not
they have all
to
the
go
right
into immediate effect.
So I
because
guess my question.
I don't want to be breaking the law tomorrow if it passed tonight.
Well, it
My
won't
question
pass
back
tonight,
to
though.
you would be that, by your own admission, they asked you to start this last July. And so now here we are.
No, we did start it last July.
And so we're in October, and your
Well, I
premise
wasn't gonna,
is
but
that
I'm not
your
gonna
employees
spend
need
money.
training.
I'm not gonna spend money on equipment if the law, they might not have asked for the signature. I didn't know what they were gonna want for sure.
I think they did in July, didn't they?
They indicated that they had.
They just
but
indicated.
They showed us some that
yeah.
are being done already.
Yeah.
In that way with the signature and the photos.
So,
Well, my point about the third reading was that at the very least, since I highly doubt no one's going to move to waive third, I'm not tonight, because it's an issue where people are on both sides. That means at the very least, there's 2 weeks before it becomes law, if we don't put a delay in. And I'm willing to think about that, but at the very least, there's going to be 2 weeks, even if there is no delay built into it. I think that's important to point out.
okay. Thank you for your time.
And just
Thank
know
you.
we are definitely working on that secondhand one, so.
Okay.
That was, for sure, I think everybody today was in agreement on that.
And I don't want to delay too much.
You bet.
Just
Thank you, David.
my point on the delay is that we're heading into the holiday season, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I would think that there's a lot more business during that time and people are trying to get money together. So that's going to be, another 30 days worth of merchandise that didn't get that extra information tagged onto it. So
He has just a few extra things.
And so I don't have to interrupt you. Can name and address for the record.
Steve Burnsides, 2385 Avenue MY. I'm one of the partners of Brown Loans. To go back to the signature, it's attached to the contract. I showed Wedham and the other, I don't remember the other guy that was there. You can even read it. The cameras that we use are better than the one the city provided, so we don't use theirs. Theirs is junk. Problem with the signature is it's attached, like Dave says, it's out in the thin air. I like the fact we do have scanners for the IDs. That comes out perfect. It has their signature. I showed him a guy that's been my regular customer for years, never done anything wrong in his life. He come in, scribbles his signature. It does not match the ID. So you're going to throw that right, because it doesn't match. As far as getting them for forgery, that will never happen. Sorry, guys, it just does not happen. Do we get stolen stuff in? A few. Do we work with the law? Quite a bit. We probably do more for the law than your gun shops do. your secondhand stores do. Point being about the signature, it's just a photo that we finish the contract. He signs it. Our system logs him out. It's already done. He's already got his money. He's walking out. We have to remember to go back and take the photo. Are the shop that's been doing that. I've been on board since then because they wanted to do it because I know how politics works. It's going to happen. But my point is it's not the time factor. It's that the signature doesn't mean anything if it's not attached with the contract. I can take a picture of the full contract. You can't see what the contract reads. You need it face to face.
So,
As far as the signature pad goes, I've got a voicemail. Captain Wedham told me, do not absolutely go out and buy signature pad because they're junk. They break down. They don't work half the time. We'd rather have it written and take a photo. Well, the photo, I should have brought it with him. I brought a copy of that, and the signatures didn't even come close, guys. Come on. And then as far as because I'm not going to keep beating on this, but as far as enacting for the gun shops, code 724.28. Read it, guys. It says right there, that's the Iowa code. You cannot put an ordinance, and it says political subdivisions of the state shall not enact an ordinance regulating the ownership, possession, legal transfer, lawful transportation, registration, licensing of firearms when the ownership, possession, transfer, or transportation is otherwise lawful under the laws of this state. That's pretty cut and dried to me, guys. That means you guys are going against the state. All I want, and you're the only one that answered my email, by the way. The other four, I'm done with you.
you didn't,
Joking.
you never emailed me, so.
No, I stayed with the city council. I left you out of it. My point being is we have to make sure that a gun that comes into a gun shop does not go back out without it being lawfully checked. And you guys are missing the point. I mean, everything that happens with us is regulated pretty heavily. We do what we're expected. There's no loophole there. You guys just, but now you can't. You can't regulate what they do, but you're doing it to us. So
since my question, and I wasn't there, and so it's only for informational purposes for me, and I know Dave said he met with them. I don't know if you met with the county attorney, so maybe
Yes,
I'm
I did.
asking the wrong. So the argument you're making that the signature is worthless, I know the county attorney, he's a pretty common sense guy, and so why did he say that it was important? Because I know you made that same argument to him, and he said, no, I think it's
you
important.
can't read them half the time with the technology we got. Even with the thumbnail, because he can blow it up on his own when you go to Leads Online. I don't know if you saw a report from
We
Leads
did.
Online.
We did.
You can't read them. I mean, you actually have to have the physical copy. Guys, I've got contracts from we took over 8 years ago. I'm not getting rid of them. I'm going to stockpile them all. Just like my 4473s. You got to hold on to them for 20 years. So, I mean, the signature in a photo is just, and the transaction's over.
Yeah.
I have to go back in and do this now, plus I'm out $3,500 for the upgrades I got because we had to be more efficient instead of running two systems side by side. So, but I don't know. You guys can do what you want. I still love y'all and all that good stuff. So, but thanks,
No,
guys.
but that's good. I mean, I don't, the same, and we do have one more reading at least to.
We do, and one of the things that that is most confusing about law, and there are lots of things, and in my day job I get to help explain it to a lot of people, is that oftentimes when you see one law, like the part of the so-called omnibus gun law that, among other things, allowed people to carry, non-police officers to carry guns in the state capitol, among other things, which I don't think is a good idea, but neither here nor there. To stay on point, just because there's a law that says one thing that regulates there doesn't mean you can't necessarily make the logical leap that it, for lack of a better word, trumps all other laws. There are other laws that exist in tandem at the same time, and one of the most complicated things about law is when you're enforcing law, which I do in my day job, you have to try to find a way, if you can, to enforce all of them. And simply put, here, there's a law with regard to the authority that the city has with regard to pawnbrokers and pawn shops. That law was not repealed by the gun ordinance. We're not regulating guns per se. We're regulating pawnbrokers. So I appreciate when you read the other law, you'd make the logical conclusion, which I would have too if I hadn't gone to school for it, because your argument makes sense. But unfortunately, in the law, that's not actually accurate. I just, I'm not trying to cause a fight. Whenever I see a chance to explain something about the law that people think but isn't actually accurate, I like to do my part to tell you that when you see one law and you think it's very clear, you have to look at all the other laws that apply too. And it's not always as simple as finding the one that you think gives the answer you want and then not looking at the other ones. I've made that mistake too, by the way. Sometimes I'm trying to find an answer and I find one I like, and then I stop looking, and then I don't realize there are other laws that actually in my fact situation that I might have in front of me gives me a completely different answer. And so it's not easy, but in this case we're well within our power to regulate pawn shops. But back to the other gentleman's point, I think there are other things we can do within the limits of the law with secondhand dealers, and I think he's right. And I think it is unfair competition in regular English, not in legal speak. But I think that's something we ought to fix. And you have my word that I'll support that.
Definitely.
Anybody else from the audience? Anyone from the council?
About this
No, not
particular
yet.
topic? If it's about this topic.
This topic?
You have to-
Wait a
you
minute,
have to
is it
come up-
this topic?
But it needs,
Wait, has to be
Sir?
about
He's
this.
not.
But it has to be only
Sir,
about
are
the
you
pawn
gonna
shops.
talk
Are you
about
talking about
this?
pawn shops?
Well, I'm, something about the weapons, but they're talking about guns, right?
No, we're
No,
talking
we're talking
really
about
about
pawn
pawn
shops.
shop
Pawn shops.
ordinance.
But I mean, there was guns put into the issue, wasn't there?
Not really.
all right, we'll give you some latitude, but it really needs to be on this particular topic.
Was there something about guns involved in it?
It's about
Recent.
requirements for pawn
No, I
activity.
carry a gun, not a gun. It's a pistol or revolver.
You can't
That's
have one in
what
here,
they're
can you?
called. They're not guns. I was
I
taught
believe you're
that.
carrying it illegally
yeah, you're
inside
not-
City
You
Hall.
can't
Have
have
it
a
in
gun
here.
in
You're not
City
allowed to
Hall.
have
I
one
can't
in
say
City Hall.
nothing. Okay, I'll sit down.
No, you can't
No,
carry a
you
gun
can't
in
carry
You
City
can't have a
Hall.
gun in
You
here,
actually
though.
need to leave.
Nope, no, you can't.
No, you can't.
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well. Thank you for not carrying it in here. We appreciate it.
All right. Oh, you said you carry a gun and you pulled your shirt back and revealed.
Yep. Pretty convinced it was a gun.
Yeah. I was ready to hit the floor, so.
I know more about revolvers, rifles, than that officer.
All right, thank you, sir. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second
Not
to.
yet, no, because he was going to talk. I
All
think
right,
you
we don't
started
have a
talking,
motion?
No.
All right, is there a motion?
Were you talking?
There is a motion
Well, I can make a motion and then there
Then
is
we
a
can
motion.
There's
talk.
a motion.
Yeah, I
and
was
There is a
gonna
motion,
say-
a
Oh,
second,
okay.
but
Yeah. I made the
Did
motion.
Councilman
Any-
Langenberg
Yeah,
want to
anyone
speak?
else from the
You
council?
look like you wanted.
No, we were just
Oh.
discussing the effective date and
Oh, yeah.
whether or
Oh.
not to make the motion premised upon the effective date.
I turned it, yeah.
So if I'll make the motion to approve ordinance with amended effective date of 8 November.
So that's it.
Second.
So that would be so we'd be voting on the amendment? Is that?
You'd be making an amendment. I had already made a motion.
Was there?
I didn't hear that, yeah.
There's a
yeah.
motion.
There is a motion, but
Okay.
I
There's
think
a
you
motion.
could, but I think you can make a motion to.
Okay,
Okay,
Motion to amend is appropriate.
okay.
okay. Sorry, I missed the motion.
I did too.
And what, I'm sorry, how long, could I ask how long you're looking, is it 30 days from?
Till November 8th.
He said, so 30 days from today, so.
Oh.
we
3
could-
days from today,
Oh,
because
oh.
I think that was the.
I see.
Just giving
see.
sufficient time to get everything implemented.
Okay. I'll second that, that's fine.
Is there discussion on the amendment?
Well, in effect, that adds 2 more weeks to what would otherwise be the case, because this would, if it passes, it's not going to pass tonight, I don't think, on 3rd. So it would pass in 2 weeks' time. So adding 2 more weeks, if that makes it more agreeable, I take Council Member White's concerns to heart as well about the holiday season. I think 2 additional weeks, I don't think will hurt that. So I'm agreeable to that.
If it's,
I'm agreeable to that. I think that's fair. The gentleman's asked for it. I think that's fair.
But what's good about that, having a specific date in this type of an ordinance, is that otherwise it becomes effective on publication. And that can be 3-4 days after the actual council meeting. So November 8th is well beyond the 23rd, so there'll be plenty of time to get it published, but everybody will know on November 8th it kicks in.
yeah, I think it's reasonable, especially since we're not going to go to 3rd reading and then another 30 days.
Right, 30 days from today,
So I'll
but then it's
support your
still, if
amendment.
it goes through, then
I
that
would
would,
support
yeah.
that.
Yep.
All right, any more discussion on, David? Yeah, we got another deal, so come on up if you want. Well. Come on up, though, because they're,
The TV, yeah.
so the people at home can hear what you're saying.
And we have one more reading, too.
Hi, people at home. What the 30 days was I wanted, once it was finalized, actually. I don't really want to go out and spend $1,500 tomorrow and order in equipment until the bill was actually finalized. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think that the indication with the amendment would be that there'd be, I can't imagine there's any reason to believe it's not going to be finalized.
Okay.
But I don't want to go 30 days from the next meeting, because that's going to put it at the end of November. And I probably.
Well, I mean, we're already doing everything that's on there except for 2 items.
Right, but if this doesn't go into effect, you're already doing it, but there's no requirement for it. See what I'm saying? So I just
They're
feel
still
like.
getting reported and it's still going, I mean, everything is getting done just as it was for the last 15 years.
I understand. I just think that,
I don't understand what that extra time frame is gonna do, because it's not gonna make it any easier for somebody to do something illegal.
At your shop, because you're already doing it, but there's no requirement for the shops to do it. So without changing the ordinance, the things that you're already doing voluntarily, they're not the law. So, to hold it up because of a signature pad for 30 days, you're already doing the rest of it. I understand and appreciate it. I just realized that you're doing it voluntarily as a good business owner in Council Bluffs, which is appreciated, but that doesn't mean the other shops have to do it if we don't pass the ordinance. So I think that you still would have the 30 days to get the signature part of it figured out.
And it sounds like to order the signature panel maybe is not advisable anyway. I mean, that's what we heard.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I wanted it to be tied into the system so it makes sure it gets done correctly.
Gotcha.
So whether they're reliable or not reliable, that is to be seen, I guess.
I know we're not making you happy. You do have my commitment about other secondhand dealers, and with this, you would have a full month from tonight. So I'll support Councilmember Ringenberg's amendment. I think it's a very good one. I'm not willing to go any further, though. I think that's as far as I'm willing to compromise.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else from the council or the audience? We have a motion on an amendment to postpone the date of the ordinance's effective date of the ordinance to November 8th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now on the original motion, All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Resolution 17-220, resolution officially designating the city council meeting dates for the city of Council Bluffs during the 2018 calendar year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Resolution 17-221, authorizing the mayor to execute an Iowa Department of Transportation Agreement Number 2017-TJ-003 in connection with the I-29 interstate improvements.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Resolution 17-222, resolution rejecting the bids of the Bass Pro Shop parking lot repair project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there discussion?
Just that the reason it's being rejected, there was only one bid received, and it was substantially higher than the estimate that we had gotten from the engineer's estimate. So we'll rebid it for spring. Hopefully it'll be a little better climate, and we'll get more bids on that and get a better price on it.
Any additional discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Resolution 17-223, resolution of intent to dispose of certain property interests located on parts of lots 1 and 4 Hotel Plaza at the MAC, replat 1, and also parts of Outlot A, Arena Way, Hotel Plaza at the MAC, replat 1, by granting an easement for the benefit of the Board of Waterworks trustees of the City of Council Bluffs, location near Iowa West Fieldhouse.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Resolution 17-224, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperative agreement with Iowa DOT for Phase 2 realignment of Dodge Riverside Golf Club as required to accommodate the Iowa DOT project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Applications for permits and cancellations 9A and 9B, 1 through 8.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Madam Clerk, any citizens requesting to be heard?
None received.
Anyone from the audience?
Now's your chance, sir.
No.
None
Bruce?
received.
Bruce, you want to speak? You have a standing slot, Mr.
It's
Kelly.
already written on my paper.
Bruce Kelly, 864 McKenzie Avenue. Bike trail. You know where?
Kenzie.
Jim McKenzie.
McKenzie over to Sims. I don't know, is there have anyone ever got a hold of the Parks Department and talked to them about this?
About the bike trail? It's not on the capital improvement plan at this particular time.
Any bike trails on the capital improvement plan?
Yes, there are.
Anyway,
The current section is a section that will meet up with the Southwest Iowa Bike Trail close to County Road 34, or whatever that is.
I know we got
Those
the
are being
one
done.
from Kmart going
Yeah,
north.
that one.
Okay,
Yep.
but I know after this would make it easier for the residents that live in the downtown or east end to get over to that trail a lot easier.
Yeah, we concur.
We don't have jurisdiction to that road, do we?
That bike trail?
Or no, at that point, it's Highway 6, right?
Hi, my name's
Yeah,
Wayne Frederick
We got
Grapp.
money from
That's
Napa to pay for it.
Grapp, like in patriot, because I'm a veteran.
Yeah.
I'm very patriotic.
Thank you
And
for
your,
your,
Yeah.
your address, too,
Matt,
sir.
this is gonna be for
thank you
you.
your service.
this is gonna be for you.
Thank you.
It's
Can you
gonna-
tell me your
you're the-
address
You're the
first?
man that's gonna make the final decision on Melissa, Al, Matt, Nate, Sharon, and Roger's gone, so you're the four consummate, right?
Roger's
the
on the
city
phone.
clerk.
Roger's on the phone,
But,
actually.
but she needs your address.
I need
please,
your
before you
address,
go.
please.
Okay, I'm here, I'm not here for a veteran or
sir,
anything else.
can you-
I'm
can-
here for our young people of Council Bluffs.
That's
I
perfect.
was a
Can-
kid once. I moved off the farm in
Sir,
55.
sir, protocol requires you to give your address, please.
Oh, excuse, I'm sorry.
you're
This is
fine.
the first time I've been to one.
perfect.
2445 Avenue H, like in Harry, Council Bluffs. Been there 29+ years.
Thank you.
Got a beautiful house. All the work's been done by some of my family members and me. But anyway, I'm not here as a veteran. I'm here, we got to help these young people in Council Bluffs. When I moved here in 55, they had a lot of stuff for young people to do. You had 3 movie houses, Strand, Liberty, and Broadway. You had a roller rink out at Manawa. You had 5, 6 bowling alleys. You had all kinds of stuff for us kids back then. Now we don't have a dang thing for these kids. Nothing. These are our future people. We got to do something for them. It's on your shoulders, Matt. It is on your shoulders. I stopped here about 2 months ago when I left Bob's Towing and Crowdger on the south side of the viaduct. Drove down, there's 5 young people standing there. 3 boys and 2 young ladies. 3 young men, I mean. And I stopped. I'm curious. I get curiosity. That's my right. I stopped and asked him, was this your hangout here? No, it's one of them. Why you hang out? We don't have nothing to do. What do you mean? You got a roller rink right down about half a block down from you. You got one there on 28 between A and B. We're bored. We need something else to do. Why are you so worried? Because I was a kid once. You hang around groups, us seniors say, well, what's them hoolins up to today? They done the same thing to me when I was 14, 15 years old. Well, there's some good kids in this town, a lot of them. There's a few bad apples. We got them all over. I was called a hood, punk, hoodlum, everything by Roy Lawson, assistant principal at AL. Well, I showed him different when I turned 17 and 3 days old. I became a man wanting a damn army. Served my country proudly, got an HD honorable discharge, a combat veteran. Damn proud of the ribbons I earned. But I talked to these kids for 15 minutes. Why are you so concerned? Because I am. You are the leaders in the future. We got to do something for them. You do, all you do. We owe them. Just like you guys owe the veterans something too. A lot of them say, nah, we don't owe them nothing. Yeah, you do. You owe the veterans. Man, I'm going to send you an envelope with my raffle I held last month at my house. I've been volunteer for a nonprofit organization moving vets forward. That's get the homeless off the streets in eastern Nebraska and western. I've been with them a little over 4 months, so I got 3 of them in beds at nighttime they haven't slept in for a long time because they're war veterans. They got that PTSD, brain dysfunction from the war. It has strange effects on certain people. It didn't bother me none. I would beat myself through the odds. But let's talk about the youth. We got to get some. You got a building sitting down there empty right now. Used to be no frills. Somebody should check into it and see if it's for sale. Check in on it. See how much it's going to cost. You should buy it. The city of Council Bluffs has put out a lot of foolish money on foolish things. Buy that. Renovate it. Make it a damn roller rink. So these kids got something to do. Get these good kids involved in something good, and you're going to have less problems on the dang streets. So why you what? Because you think I'm going to give it a hell try? If something don't come tonight, I'll be back the next council meeting. I'm going to hit you until you put something off the back burner and bring it to the front and do something about it. We need to. We owe our future generations something. Get them something they can have fun, enjoy life. They don't have a dang thing to enjoy about it.
Thank you for your ideas, and thank you for your service to the country, sir.
I appreciate that. I thank you for thanking me. I'm proud to do it. I went in at 17 and 3 days old and come out 20 and a day old.
Thank
I
you.
didn't serve a full 3 years because my ETS fell on a Saturday. I got discharged at noon Friday. But I could have been anything I wanted to, officer, gentleman, anything. It's how I wanted to play their stupid game. I could soldier, I didn't have soldier. But when I soldiered, I was the best in 30,000 men in the 1st Infantry Division, the oldest division, and the battle group I served with was the oldest battle group in all 5 services. Guess what? I got to serve with both of them. That makes me a hell of a Superman.
Quite an honor. Thank you so
We
much.
gotta do something for these kids. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
They're young people and they need some entertainment,
Thank you.
okay?
Appreciate it. Thank you. Anybody else? Anyone from the council?
Yes, tomorrow, I think it's important, having run, and not tomorrow, but having run in the past twice for city council and been involved in a lot of community things. We have 8 people in our community, 8 residents in our community, 2 currently on the council and 6 other residents in town. And we have in the mayoral race, there are 3 people running, an incumbent mayor and 2 other people also running. And it's so important that, tomorrow's the primary election for the city. What does that mean? It narrows down the candidates. We've been so fortunate to have so many people put themselves forward. And like I say, having done this in the past, I know how much effort and how much of a sacrifice it is from your family and your friends and free time to put yourself forward for the residents and wanting to run and wanting to make a difference. And so let's do them proud. They've done their part. So tomorrow, whomever you choose for mayor, you get to vote for 1 candidate for mayor, and you get to vote for 2 city council seats. And they're at large, so that means you get to vote for both of them. We don't have districts, so you get to vote for all the city council people, the positions. 2 of them are up tomorrow, so the mayor and 2 council. Please show up and vote. We've in primary elections, we've tended to have 3 to 5%. It's so little of people, and it just takes a couple minutes of your time, and it's really part of what that gentleman fought for. So, and I'm very grateful to him for getting up this evening to remind me that he and so many other men and women in our country's history, and as we sit here now and allowing us to sit here now, because there's so many parts of the world that aren't free, and so we take it for granted, me too. And so it's time to do our part. Take 5 minutes tomorrow and to vote for the candidates. And I see 2 of the others in the audience there this evening. And I thank all the candidates for running. And I think tomorrow it's time for us to do our part to show up and vote. And so that we can have more than 3 to 5% honor what those 8 council candidates and 3 mayoral candidates and what that gentleman and so many other men and women have done in our country. Let's do our part. Please show up and vote tomorrow.
And really, I just want to add on to that a lot of people, I think, got apathetic. They feel like, when they vote in a presidential election, their vote doesn't count. When you vote in your city council election, every single one of those counts votes. There's no electoral college. It does make a difference. Your vote really and truly matters. And, we have seen such poor turnout for our elections for the last several years, and I believe that Nate is 100% correct. We owe it to those that have fought for us to do our duty and vote. It's not just our privilege, it's our duty to do that. So go to the polls 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you have problems knowing where to vote, it's online at the Pottawatomie County Voters Office. You can call up there, and I'm sure even if you came by City Hall, somebody would help you find it online. So just make sure you get out and vote.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead, Melissa.
I say this is hard to follow, not nearly as important as voting, but we all have on shirts tonight. I'm sure you're wondering what this is about. The sheriffs and police have teamed together this year to do a shirt that goes to help support breast cancer awareness and funds for that. You can get these at the sheriff's office, at the police office, any of those places if you would like one. And then the fire department is also selling pink light bulbs as well, and that goes to Project Pink. So a lot of great opportunities, and Jenny Edmondson is selling shirts too. So the whole month of October is kind of the pink out month. I know next Friday actually is the day that everybody in Council Bluffs is encouraged to wear pink to show your support. So just wanted to touch base on that quickly.
All right, thank you. Drive safely and have a great week. We are adjourned.
Bye, Roger.
He's probably already gone.
Oh, okay. It's just